Hello and welcome to the Keto Man's Club podcast.
We're glad you're here, where each week we talk about men's health and lifestyle.
We do so with the foundation of the ketogenic diet and lifestyle.
If you don't know what keto is, stick around and you'll find out.
The podcast will bring you real, honest fun.
Each week we strive to uncover the tips and tricks that you can use in your everyday life to maximize your overall health.
Find the clearest path to becoming the best version of yourself that you were meant to be.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Keto Man's Club podcast. My name is Chris and I'm here with the usual company, Jim and Alberto. How's it going, Jim?
It is good, sir. How are you holding up through COVID day 4,623 and a half? Yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Life
Are
is...
we allowed to drop F-bombs already?
It's your show, boss.
Yes, it's your show.
Just go ahead and mark it explicit now.
There are times whenever, the stress is real. Life isn't necessarily treating me very easily right now, but it's not treating anybody and that way. And so we're all in it together, and we're hopefully trying to be in some form of unity as we step forward. It does sound like there may be a fragment of sanity in the biggest stress item, which is things involving my wife's profession and the security of, or actually more accurately, the safety of her moving forward and in that and whatnot. So I'm glad to hear and see that there's some wise and level-headed thinkers out there that are stepping in and making calls. So, yeah, that's good. What's going on with you, Alberto?
Oh man, the heat is real these last couple of weeks. It's been, talk about stressful. It's been taking its toll on me. I've had to paint for a few days, and I think it was Tuesday when I was driving home. Tuesday at 5 p.m. According to my truck's dashboard, it was 108 degrees outside. And so, all last week was same way. And like with my job, like I've said it many times, my job is 100% kill or 100% chill. There's nothing in between. And lately it's been 100% killing me because this heat and then just the stress of the job and the demands. And, I'm supposed to be in two places that are 60 miles apart at the exact same time, which obviously that's not going to happen. So just having to juggle a bunch. And then, me being me, like I was still training, set 2 PRs last week and a PR this week. So, I mean, that's one upside. But, last week was 405 for 3 on the barbell, which was a rep PR. And then on Thursday, I did 405 for 12 on the hex bar. And that ruined me till about Sunday. And then to be safe, I didn't go to the gym Monday. And then I overslept Tuesday. Uh-oh. And so I went in today and I was like, well, it was supposed to be a deload week, but if you don't go to the gym for a few days, then it just immediately turns into a deload week anyways. Mm-hmm. So I went back in today, figured I was just going to kind of see what happened. I would almost rather have gone back to bed today, but just started deadlifting. Things started feeling good. Actually, it was just over a year ago. You recorded my last PR on the barbell at 415 pounds.
Okay.
Beltless.
Yeah.
And I pretty much decided that I'm not going beltless when I go that heavy anymore because that was a sketchy personal best. Yeah. So went in today, kept rocking. Everything felt good. Went straight from 315 to 425 pounds. Went up easy, like surprisingly easy. And so I waited 5 minutes, loaded up 435 pounds, and I pulled 435 pounds for a single.
Nice.
Ripped all the calluses off my hands and then managed to make my nail bed bleed from all the pressure.
Pics or it didn't happen?
Oh, there's a pic.
There's pictures. I saw the blood. It's real.
It's because I was pulling hook grip, and real quick, I'll just describe hook grip. Like hook grip is say you just imagine you're putting your hands around the bar with your palms facing you, how you would normally grab even like any bar, handlebars, a barbell. But now move your thumbs underneath your pointer finger and middle finger, so you're essentially sandwiching your thumb between your fingers and the bar, so it makes it hard to let go. And that's the hook grip, and that's what you use when you're going really, really heavy and there's a chance that the bar will slip. You hold it like that. Downside is it puts a lot of pressure on your thumbs and enough to make it bleed, apparently.
You live and learn, and you bleed a little, and it's okay.
So other than that, not much.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it will stay that way. Any Eddie Man's Club news that we need to discuss? I know we keep getting more and more people each week.
I think it's just a good reminder. We talk about it as often as we can, but we appreciate reviews, especially on Apple Podcast and all of that. So please share episodes that have impacted you. Please give us a review, even if it's negative. We'll stick Alberto and his bloody nails on you if we have to, whatever the case may be. But yeah, those things definitely help get the word out for sure. So find an episode you like, share it, pass it along, and away we go.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm checking the site right now. Let's do a random review read real quick.
We need some music for that. We need
Mr. McCay, start beatboxing. Give us a beat. Oh wow!
Nice. So Sam RI71 wrote, great motivational podcast, one of the best podcasts around, and absolutely the best motivational podcast for men who are on the keto path to weight loss or metabolic healing. Keep up the good work, guys.
Excellent.
And there are a lot more there, and we haven't read any of those in a long time. If we ever get, downtrodden and, upset, about how things are going, we just I need to revisit that. That's and maybe we'll do a contest with that at some point in time and pick a random recent reviewer to win something, maybe a shirt or a sticker, because we have those things right now, and so we should look into that. But that's the t-shirt sales have ended by now. So just for those who did order and did purchase something, whether it be a t-shirt or a sticker, those will go out just as soon as we can. We've got to get them printed and things like that. So it might be still a couple weeks before they get shipped out. But we will get that done just as quickly as possible. We're excited to get those out into your hands and make shirt number 2 a reality. I'm excited to be able to get one myself. Good stuff going on there. Let's go ahead and dig into shout outs. Alberto?
All right. Again, I'm going simple. Member Trevor J posted a picture of himself. I'll read the caption first and I'll describe the picture. His caption is, I'm not proud of many things I've done in my life, but I am proud of how perfectly done this bacon is tonight. And it's a picture of him like lovingly, and I can't stress lovingly enough, lovingly holding a tray of bacon. Mm-hmm. And he legitimately looks like this is the proudest moment he's had in a long time. And the picture, like, I just look at this picture and it made me laugh and it made me smile. And I have really no good reason why it made me so happy, but it did. So I'm just going to take it and run.
And it was perfectly made bacon. You could tell through the picture. It was well done for sure. Well done. Jim, how about you?
Well, I'm very grateful for Alberto mentioning that because I was going to do a bonus shout out for the bacon love. So the fact that it's been taken care of is awesome. My shout out is to Bob. I'm hoping I pronounced the last name right. Saylor, Seyller. And Bob has his Facebook profile on lockdown. So I can't really even see where he is from or anything like that. But Bob has posted a before and current, because he's on a journey, starting weight 355. Now he is at 273 over 9 months. And a huge, no pun intended, a huge difference in chest, waist, face, neck, arms, even, everything about it. So kudos to Bob for dropping 80 some pounds or so on his journey. He looks awesome.
Absolutely. I've got a very similar story. Brady from the Man's Club. He shares his pictures, and one of the comments that we heard from somebody else in the group was that he looks like he is de-aged, like lost years off of his life. In the first picture, he is 350 pounds. Big boy, definitely, you could tell he had, swelling. He looks like he was fully inflamed. And then he says the second picture is weighing in this morning at 197 pounds, feeling great. No more swelling and inflammation, and more energy than I could ever dream of. Trust the process and stay on the grind, fellas. An awesome reminder of what our bodies can do to heal themselves and whatnot. Some awesome comments supporting him and encouraging him as well in that post. So some really, really cool stuff. We've got some really amazing guys doing some amazing things with their lives in the group. And one of them is with us, as is normal. We have McCay, and I'm excited to get to hear more about him and his background and things like that. Alberto, why don't you start us out?
Well, let's start out with the important business. This guest of ours recently purchased a trap bar, and trap bars are fun. And he also just started building a heck of a gym, and he's like I said, he's got quite the story. I'm actually super excited to talk to him. So let's just jump right into the important business. How awesome is your gym, and how happy are you that you started building it? And then from there, we'll take a step back and get to all the rest of the stuff too.
My wife gave me the slightest go ahead, and she said, "Yeah, I understand what's going on. You can't get into the gym. Go ahead and start doing it." And I went out there that day. There was shelving. We just bought this house, so there's shelving. It's an old garage, and I went out there with a claw hammer and just started ripping everything out of there as fast as possible before she could tell me no. So pulled everything out and immediately started ordering whatever I could find gym wise.
That's amazing,
and it's pretty well. You've got a squat rack. You've kind of built it up pretty well already, right?
Yep. I mean, it's got, for what I do, it's got all the basics that I need. Obviously, it's kind of a work in progress, but the power rack, being able to do pull up, squat, bench press through a flat bench in there. I guess it's about 250 pounds of bumper plates and a barbell and a few odds and ends of dumbbells that I found at garage sales throughout the years. And that's pretty much it. No, there's a tractor tire, probably about 400 pounds. But
those are fun. Those are fun. If nothing else, just to bang a sledgehammer into.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and dial back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, kind of where you came from, not necessarily health-wise, but just kind of some of your background and things like that.
Sure. Yeah. So I live down in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. I've been a police officer and currently a sergeant at the sheriff's office here. Pretty much my entire life. I came out of college at Old Dominion University and immediately went into the police force and started doing that since I was 21. I got hired when I was 20. Started working as a police officer at 21 and turned 35 here next week. And it's been a road as far as that. It's been ups and downs throughout the career, but a lot of good work and helping a lot of folks. So it's been good in that aspect.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think this will be a great conversation, and not to make any political point out of any of this, because that's not what we want to be here for. But I always think that it's a good thing whenever you get to know people that maybe aren't always known. So getting to know who Mac is and to know that Mac is a police officer, maybe that will help somebody out there to maybe trust a little more or something. And I hope that that's a good thing. I know that you're a person that can be trusted for sure, based on
that's been one of my favorite things about the group is that, you get guys from all walks of life.
Yep.
Whatever political, whatever religion, whatever orientation, whatever it might be. And we're all just there for a common goal of supporting each other. And it's, I've stayed off Facebook a little bit for the past couple of months, but the only thing that I get on there for is the Keto Men's page. And it's been quite the relief to be able to get on there and kind of all work towards a common goal together, regardless of where you're coming from.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate you saying that. I actually had a experience at work today with a young man, 18 years old, who is going through some tough times right now. And we had some heart-to-heart conversations, and he repeatedly said that he does not have anybody that he can trust to talk about what he's going through right now. And I'm in my mind, I went back to our group many times in that conversation about, even if it's a bad day, if it's whatever the case may be, you can throw it in our group and you're going to get a good response back. You're going to get positive comments. You're going to get constructive criticism, whatever the topic is. But it's just nice to know that there's this truly a safe spot for those conversations that don't always come easily to men. So I appreciate you saying that, Mac, very much.
Yeah, and it's been I mean, we got so many different people. We've got priests in the group. We've got youth pastors in the group. We got everybody there. It's been awesome.
And we got people who aren't close to being pastor.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, all walks of life. Tyler, I'm looking at you.
I was going to say if anybody in the room here jumped on that one, but I'll just leave that alone.
So tell us a little bit about your health journey, kind of get us started with that, and then we'll kind of dig into how you found keto and whatnot from there.
Oh, sure. So, I mean, I've always been a bigger kid. I remember when I was 12, I was playing a little Pop Warner football where I was living. And I was, if you're over a certain weight, I think it was 150 pounds at 12, they had to put an X on your helmet and you weren't allowed to run the ball for safety reasons. And I remember having the X on my helmet, playing quarterback, and I could never run the ball. I had to throw it or hand it off. And just always been big. I mean, I've probably been this tall since I was in 6th or 7th grade, growing my cool middle school neck beard that I didn't want to shave. And it was around the time I sun in too. So I've got real black hair. So I sun in the top of my bowl cut and not the bottom. So it was orange on top, black on the bottom. I was a stud, to say the least.
We're going to need that photo for the promotional of the podcast, by the way.
My teeth were jacked up. I had braces, lip bumpers, headgear. I mean, I had all the ladies. So, you're not getting that picture. I just got to tell you that. But yeah, so, I mean, I played sports. I played football, basketball, and baseball. I mean, ever since I was a little kid. And, I ate like I played football, basketball, and baseball my entire life. And I think I went back when I was in college and kind of roughly calculated. I knew nothing about nutrition then. I went back and calculated. I was probably eating 7,000 calories a day, but I was probably burning that much, 2 days, 3 days during football season, sprints during basketball. And it was kind of a cycle of bulking up during football and then coming to basketball season, a lot more running. I kind of slimmed down a little bit. All that was fine and dandy up until I went to college. And, a lot of folks put on the freshman 15, but I went to college at 185 pounds, pretty in shape because I was coming off of baseball season, and got to college and kept eating like I had been eating since I was probably 10, 11, 12 years old, with no exercise. During that time, my junior, senior year of high school, I ended up tearing my knees up. So that kind of limited in my mind a lot of what I could do. And so I just kind of resolved. I just went to class, did my work, and just ate whenever I wanted to. And eventually, by the time I graduated, came into college at 185, I left college at 315 pounds. So it was quite the ride. And I'd always try to do stuff, try to calorie control, try to cut back, get a salad with dinner and, instead of like 2 or 3 baked potatoes or something. But it was 315 pounds with no cartilage in my knees. That was quite the feat, to say the least. But I ended up, go ahead.
No, that's quite, and that was from beginning of college to end of college?
Yep. Over, about 4.5 years. I took an extra semester because I screwed around, but yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but I mean, that's still, it's quite the average, even over 4.5 years.
Oh, I know. And it just, it snuck up on me. I mean, I went into college and I, brought my clothes from high school, and slowly over those 4 years, I'm having to buy new pants and new pants and new pants. And, eventually I come back home to my parents are living, back to my hometown. And one of my lifelong friends said, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And he called me on it, which kind of made me at least pause in my mind of what am I doing here, and try to get healthy, but could never do it. But I ended up, so I had to take the police test. So the police test consisted of a 400-meter run. I think it was a 100-yard dash, jumping a 6-foot wall, and some other smaller things. And I was legitimately concerned at 315 pounds, am I going to be able to pass this test? And I passed it for how, I mean, I threw up after the 400-meter run. It was the first thing we did, and I blew chunks right on the side of the track. But I passed and, got into the academy and ended up losing about 20, maybe 25 pounds just because of all the PT stuff we're doing. And from right there all the way up until May 28th, 2018, it was just an up and down cycle of lose 40 pounds, put on 60, lose 30 pounds, put on 20, just up and down.
Mm-hmm.
I did some calorie control and just really watching what I was doing around 2012. And I think the lowest I got was 225. And within 2 years, I was back up again to 295. So
how tall are you?
I am 6'1".
No, see, I mean, okay, but like, yeah, just over 200 pounds is not an unreasonable weight for you at that height.
No.
So you probably wore it well when you got, closer to the lower end of stuff. But yeah, I mean, either way, regardless of your height at 300 plus, it gets a little uncomfortable, I would imagine.
Yeah, and that's what people would say to me. They said, "Oh, you don't look 280 pounds." I go, I may not look it, but I definitely feel it. I mean, because it just hurt my joints, hurt my knees. Both my parents, I got them on keto as well. But before that, I mean, all growing up, they were both over 300 pounds. Our health was not a bastion of health and healthy foods. So I mean, it's in my genetics. They both had diabetes issues. They both had blood pressure and heart issues that ran in the family. And then, my wife and I were sitting on the couch on, it was May 26th of 2018. And we were watching Netflix and we came across a magic pill, which if you're even remotely into the keto stuff, you've probably seen it at some point. And it was right there. We both resolved. 2 days later, we started the ketogenic diet on May 28th, 2018. And it's just been a gangbuster since then for both of us.
So on May 28th, 2018, how much did you weigh? How long did it take you to bottom out? And what do you weigh now, assuming it's different from, your lowest weight?
So I was right about 285, bouncing between 285 and 295 on May 28th. And all I did to start was I just got 2 lists of foods when they talked about what are ketogenic foods. Foods you can definitely have, foods you should have in moderation, and food you should avoid. And I downloaded Carb Manager, I think is the one we started with, plugged in my numbers and just started filling up my food for the day off of that list. And it got to the point where I was losing almost a pound a day for the first 2 months. And I think that's the biggest thing that helped me is I actually saw results. I was having more energy. I was sleeping better. I wasn't getting as irritable. I could see a physical difference when I looked in the mirror, and all those things just kind of kept encouraging both my wife and I to just keep going. And so my original goal was just to get down to below 225, kind of where I was in 2012. And I got to 225, I think it was about 6 or 7 months. I dropped about those 50 pounds or so. And then we just kept going. So at 9 months, I was below 200 pounds for the first time in over 15 years.
Man, what do you weigh now?
So I was stuck at 180 pounds for pretty much that entire year. So pretty much about a year, I was at 180. And then, talking to different guys and looking at different things, we started carnivore back in January, doing strict carnivore. And I went from 180 down to 173. All this COVID misstep started happening. Gyms kind of shut down. Everyone kind of, at least in my house, got a little lazy on doing lazy keto, adding in these little treats and comfort foods, if you will. And I put on nothing crazy in the 2 or 3 months, about 6 pounds. But then back at the beginning of June, we had a bet going in a keto men's group message. And we said, hey, let's in June, strict carnivore, cut out artificial sweeteners. And I hit that like gangbusters and ended up dropping down to 169 during that, from 179 to 169 that month of June.
Wow. So like it's almost safe to say, because people have told me like it's plausible that I'm like a hyper responder. Like when it comes to keto, like I can tweak macros and see a result like in a very short amount of time. So I would say it's almost safe to say, if that is indeed a thing, that you are probably right there the same with me.
Yeah, I mean, so I had that goal. My goal was always to lose weight, get some of this weight off of my joints. That's been the biggest thing, and to look good naked. If we're being honest here, I wanted to look good naked and feel better in my legs. And I've got kind of a more focused goal now, to where it's playing with the macros to where I can start putting on muscle mass, start getting stronger for the work that I do, for just generally being a little bit more bulky, but the right kind of bulk, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. So where are you sitting right now, weight wise?
So this morning I was 172, and that's been about. So I've been doing the strong lifts or the keto gains, weightlifting stuff. That's why I'm all weights that I have in my gym right now. Everything's working great for me because it's very specific kind of structured, and I've got everything that I need there. And so I've been doing that since the beginning of July, and I'm at 170, like 2.5 or something. Like it fluctuates day to day, but bouncing around between 170 and 173. And with how I'm eating and how I'm tracking and how strict I am on everything, I'm not worried about, those 2 pounds or maybe 4 pounds or 5 pounds. It's I'm working towards what I want now, which is building muscle and getting stronger.
Yeah, you've been at this long enough, and you're dialed. And from previous conversations, I know that you're dialed in enough with your macros that like you are at a really, really good spot right now, to where like you can make minor adjustments on your lifting days and probably find out within a matter of weeks, if not less, that if what you're doing is actually working for you.
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations where we played around with calories. I was so consumed in my brain about calories, and it's a very easy thing to adjust on the ketogenic diet to where you can adjust that fat a little bit to give you a little bit more energy, a little bit more power in the gym on those heavy lifting days. That I think on lifting days now today, I had a good session this morning, and at the end of the day, I think I was at 2,900, like 2,980 or something on calorie wise, and protein, fat was on point. I also switched from counting net carbs to total carbs. I didn't realize it did that. It was that big of a deal, but it really helped me kind of buckle down a lot more on what I was consuming.
Yeah, I mean, that I believe was less of an issue before all these treats and Rebel ice creams and
Yep.
brownie mixes. And I think there was probably a little more leeway in the net versus total carb world before all that stuff. But now that, all those things are in play, I do total carbs. My total carbs are right around 35. I never get it. So even if I were to hit 35, that ends up being maybe 15 to 20, 25 net.
Yep. And I tell you, I mean, for guys out there who are starting the ketogenic diet or in it for a while, my biggest blessing behind all this was having, my wife there kind of doing all this with me. We're not making 2 meals where she's doing her carb heavy meals and I'm doing this because she was by no means large. I mean, she's 5'3". When she started, she was maybe 139, 140. And she ended up dropping during that same time. She got down to about 119, and that's kind of where she called it. She didn't want to be below 120. So she moved more into maintenance stuff, and she ended up having a baby during that time, and she ended up having gestational diabetes. And she goes into the OBGYN, and doctor says, "Oh, you need to do a low carb diet." And we just both start laughing, and doctor can't figure out why we're laughing. So she maintained that through the whole pregnancy. And I tell you, a month after she had the baby, you couldn't even tell she had the baby. Doing ketogenic all the way through with the doctor's orders, and then afterwards, she blew it out of the water as well. Having a partner there doing it with you, whether it's your wife or someone you can count on, having that accountability and slapping the food out of your hands, pretty nice.
How has it worked out for your parents? You mentioned them earlier.
Oh, so my dad he actually turned 71 last Tuesday. His health hadn't been that great. And to be frank with you, I was a little concerned of how much longer we might have him around if he didn't change something. He was a Marine during Vietnam, did 3 tours in Vietnam. When he came back, he went from 120 pounds when he was in Vietnam. And I remember seeing pictures because he was 36 when I was born. So I remember seeing pictures when I was a baby, and he was just big then. So he's been big since I've been alive. And like I said, I mean, he's had 3 or 4 different strokes, heart issues. He had diabetes. My mom had type 2 diabetes along with heart stuff. And they saw kind of the transformation that I had during that first 6 or 7 months. And they said, "Hey, we kind of want to get on this." Because my dad's a very picky eater. He didn't want to eat anything that wasn't meat, potatoes kind of thing. And I was like, "Well, it's great. Just cut out the potatoes and you can have all the meat that you want, basically." And I got them set up on Carb Manager. They started doing it. Both of them have lost about 60 or 70 pounds apiece. My mom's come off her diabetes medication. My dad goes to the VA for his stuff, and he's been taking off about half of his medications. And quite frankly, I mean, I believe it wholeheartedly that he's added time to his life, no matter if it's a year, a month, or 5 years. It's been a blessing to our family to have kind of found this way of eating.
Did your parents have any dementia issues or challenges? And a reason I bring that up is we've had a few of our guys that have been on this program that have talked about how keto has impacted that. So was there any kind of a notice of mental clarity or anything for them?
Not so well. Thankfully, we didn't have any of those issues with my dad. My mom's fairly young; she's 56, so he robbed the cradle on that one. But he's definitely had a lot more energy. I mean, I remember being a kid, 14, 15 years old, like, "Hey, Dad, let's go throw the baseball," and he'd come out for maybe 10 minutes and he'd be done. And he can't get around as well as he would like, but he's definitely got more energy. He's doing more around the house. And kind of the jokes at Christmas and birthday times was just get him a present that has something to do with the TV, and he'll be happy. Because that's what he did. He watched TV and enjoyed his time and was just kind of riding life out. It appeared to me, and I called him on it too. And a lot more energy, going out, walking around flea markets, doing all the elderly folk stuff, if you will. I also enjoy flea markets, so it's not a shot on elderly, but.
So, Mac, tell us a little bit more about your the rest of your family. Talking about kids and whatnot. What are their ages again, and are they doing and following mom and dad, or what's that looking like?
That's funny. So I've got a 11-year-old daughter, a 9-year-old son, and we just had a baby back. She'll be a year on the 1st of August, actually. So it's been a big year for us. With the kids, they always want to emulate their parents. They want to be like dad, be like mom. And I don't know if I can just fully commit, with them to put them all the way in the ketogenic diet. They don't have any health issues. They're both very active, both perfect height and weight. They just had their physicals this year we had changed school districts. Everything looked great. We stopped buying a lot of stuff. So we would typically have all the kid food staples, juices, crackers, chips, all that's the Pop-Tarts, all that kinds of stuff. And we don't have it. So when it comes to like dinner times that we're making dinners, I might add in a healthy side, add in some potatoes, add in some sweet potatoes for them. But it's not on purpose, to answer your question, but just by the nature of how we're buying our food and what we keep on stock in the house, there's not a lot of junk for them to grab.
Sure.
Necessarily. So kind of end around a little bit.
Yeah, it's almost the exact same thing with my family. Like I don't force the way I eat on my kids at all. But I'll tell you what, like they by default, like you were saying, probably eat cleaner than 95% of the kids their age. These kids will destroy some fruit, and they love eating fruit. But like, am I going to take that away from them just for the sake of them being keto? Where I would say the vast majority of their snacking is like watermelon, grapes, apples, plums,
Yep.
Like if that's what you're gonna, that's what you choose to snack on. Like I'm gonna buy it all day long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They have the metabolic flexibility to handle that right now. They haven't done what I did for years and what most of us did for years to destroy what metabolic flexibility we should have had.
Sure. I mean, the thing is, I make a couple pounds of bacon in the morning for breakfast. I mean, what kid is going to ignore a mound of bacon in front of them? So I mean, if it's there, they're going to eat it. Same thing with ribs when we smoke ribs, or pulled pork when we smoke a pork butt or something. They tear it up. But I'm okay with it.
Nothing wrong with that at all, man.
So go ahead.
Sorry, Chris. In talking about all of this and everything, and your transition over the last year and a half, 2 years or so since you were sitting on the couch with your wife, what has been the biggest challenge for you? Because it sounds like a lot of things fell into place for you, but there had to be some stumbling blocks. Man, I wish chips were part of the keto plan or something like that. Where did you have your hiccups in all of this?
So I work shift work. So every 28 days, I switch from day shift to evening shift to night shift.
Oh,
yeah. So right now I'm on midnight shift. Here in 3.5 weeks, I'll go to day shift, and then 28 days from that, I'll be on evening shift. So for me, and I know there's a lot of guys in the group that are EMTs, firefighters, pulling third watch in the military, whatever it might be, that have the same kind of issue. And I'll tell you, the first thing, had I not gotten a hold of that and gotten control of that, was the shift work. But the biggest thing that helped me throughout all of this was pre-planning, sitting down, the day before I finished eating for the day. I mean, for tomorrow, tonight, I've already put in my food for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a plan that I'm going to eat, because food has always been a problem for me. And if you got a problem, then attack the problem. So mine was just snacking, grabbing something quick and easy, whatever it might be. So that pre-planning kind of helped eliminate the issue I would have had with shift work. So the first couple of weeks, it was tricky, just trying to get a hold of everything and get everything lined up. But once I got the hang of it and realizing that pre-planning was my absolute success, that's when everything really kind of fell into place.
So what do you do if plans change and, hey, honey, I'm not cooking tonight, we're going out to dinner, or something along those lines? How do you?
I tell you, I mean, the biggest Wendy's triple baconator, plain, no ketchup, no bun, is it's a quick 980 calories with, I think it's like one carb, maybe if that, two carbs. And I add mustard, pickle, and jalapeno slices to it. That's because there's some days that I just, and I'll plan that. I'll plan that into what I'm doing, to where I go to work tomorrow. We haven't gone grocery shopping. I'll go to Wendy's, get this, or I'll go to Hardee's or Carl's Jr., wherever we're at in the country, and I'll get that. But regardless of if I'm eating out or I'm not eating out, I plan it. Well, same thing for family get-togethers and stuff too. I mean, we, Christmases, birthdays, get-togethers, what have you. We a lot of times offer to bring food, which, could be a little bit more expensive for cooking for huge groups of people, because my wife's one of 8 siblings, along with everybody else that accompanies them. So we when we go to these family gatherings, they're big. They're like, hey, we'll bring a massive smoked turkey, or we'll bring a whole serving tray of pulled pork, or we plan ahead of time. That's the biggest thing.
Bang for your buck. You can't go wrong with pulled pork, man.
Yeah, it's quick and easy. $12 and a little bit of time investment, you're good to go.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah. That my wife is the grill master in our house, mainly because she worked for several summers at a youth camp in the kitchen, and learned to man the grill, cooking for 400 people at a time. Ooh. and such. So she really has it down pretty well. And so, nothing beats her pulled pork. And she's taken the Kansas City barbecue and merged it with the Texas barbecue, and oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just joking. I'm sure it's amazing.
It's amazing.
I eat it.
Yes,
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was telling Alberto, all my family lives out in Texas, and we'll go out and visit, and we'll get some legit Texas style brisket, and we come back to Virginia, and it's a sad state of barbecue affairs here in the state of Virginia.
Hey, you got a smoker, you got the power to fix that for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've talked a little bit about the equipment, and then you were discussing a little bit about how you've been an athlete over the years. Other than just going into a lifting regiment and things like that, what has physical activity look like for you now that you are living the ketogenic way?
So when I first started, so we started, May 28th. In June, my wife was looking at she was talking to somebody. She said, hey, let's do this step bet, where if you're not familiar with it, we paid $40, and there's 500 people that are in this group. There's a bunch of little groups, but ours was $500 or 500 people. Mm-hmm. Everyone pays in $40, and you wear an activity tracker, Fitbit, Apple Watch, Samsung, what have you, and you have to meet your step goal each day. If you don't meet your step goal each day, I think you got the one that we were in, they vary, but you got one off day. So if you had 2 off days and you didn't meet your steps for that day, I think mine was 9,000 I had to hit every day, then you lose your money. And then when you lose your money, it goes into a pot. Whoever's left at the end of these 2 or 3 months get to split all these people's money who didn't complete the step bet. So we did that for the 3 months, and not because I wanted to win like $7. It's because I didn't want to lose my $40 and then my wife's $40. So we literally, for the first year and a half, the only thing that we did was just walk. And it was just outside of that step bet, it was just walking as much as I can. And, working shift work, it was a lot easier, especially on midnight shift, where I can just get out of my car, go around and check businesses to make sure they're locked and not broken into. And just walking. That's literally all I did for the first probably about a year and a half.
Yeah, that speaks to the simplicity of what can make massive changes for our body. Just simple things like walking or just moving can be the pebble that starts the landslide.
Yep, absolutely. And it's the same thing. We just, some folks on the Keto Men's page, we did the, you're more familiar with it. You set it up. I can't remember the name of the app now, but it was basically the Apple Watch challenge where we had to close our rings. And we did it in May and June is when I did it. And I got to the end. I was like, I'm tired of walking so much. I got to start lifting weights. I would just put it on and I would keep my heart rate up walking around our street's a big loop. So I just do laps around the loop at 1 o'clock in the morning because I'm on shift work.
Sure.
People looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah. That's, And this month we changed it up a little bit, and I think that we'll maybe do parallel next month. But the tracking challenge for the month of July has been pretty fruitful for a lot of us, including myself. Just being mindful, just tracking the food that I'm eating for the first time in a long time has been enough to let me see a little bit of movement. It also has forced me to be real with myself about the things that I'm taking into my body and the effect that they have, because those low carb bars, they're not that low carb. And
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? They said it was true.
Yeah. It said it on it says it on the label. It's low carb.
We were killing Quest bars. We'd buy 2 or 3 of the 5 packs every time we went grocery shopping. And it was definitely caused some stall there for me, at least.
Yeah, no. And that's been, I've hung out where I've lived for a long time, and I'm almost 10 pounds below that consistently now for a couple weeks. And it's just all about being mindful. And so these challenges have been a really good thing. I do think that in the month of August, we will continue the tracking, but we might do a concurrent Apple Watch challenge for those who want to, just to have options and whatnot. So you're kind of a high impact guy at this point, based on everything that I can tell. Your coworkers, other police officers, and the people that the deputies that are under you and whatnot, they have had to notice these changes in you, right?
Oh, sure. So I actually left police work for a little bit. I was a detective, and I left from doing detective work, and I was doing government contracts for a construction company. And that's actually kind of that brief window that I left police work of about 8-9 months is when that encompassed May 28th, 2018. And when I came back to police work in August, and I'd already dropped by that point 30, 40 pounds. And people are like, "Oh, what's going on? What are you doing?" And, telling about the diet, and people have their opinions. And it kind of got to the point where I would just tell them, "Oh, I'm just not eating sugar. I'm eating sugar and watching what I'm eating," to avoid, discussions and folks, I guess, their critiques and criticisms, just because I was tired of hearing it.
This is also 2018. So, I mean,
yep,
things have changed quite a bit in the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because over these past 2 years, year and 9 months, whatever it's been since I've been back, I've had so many people come up to me and say, "Hey," the same people that were critiquing, criticizing me before are now saying, "Hey, man, what do I need to do to get started?" And I said, "Oh, now you want to come back? Oh, be 122.50 and I'll get you started." No, but I start those guys out the same way. These are the 2 lists. Download an app, track your food, spend a couple weeks just tracking your normal diet, what you're currently eating, so you can see exactly how unhealthy of a relationship you've got with food. And then either slowly or cold turkey, whatever you want to do, start incorporating these lists of foods.
The biggest thing I tell them is, they'd start for a couple weeks and then like, "Oh, I got the keto flu," and just electrolytes.
Yeah, it goes a long way. And I've said it many times before, like when I started keto for the same reason, like this was just over 3 years ago now. And it wasn't as, I don't know, for lack of a better term, commercial and commercially acceptable. So like I told no one. It's outside of my immediate family. I told absolutely no one. And what amazes people the most is that like even then it took a good 2 years before the first person actually picked up on it that didn't know, that I purposely didn't tell. Like he didn't. So one day I came up to him and he just asked me, he's like, "Dude, you on keto? I've seen the way you eat." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, how long? I'm like, 2 years. He's like, 2 years. Well, yeah, like he didn't even pick up on it. So it's one of those things like everybody assumes like you're going to get singled out when you start. But if you don't mention it and you just kind of go about your business and your social gatherings, and like most people won't even notice.
Yep. I had my partner, he was interested. I mean, he was a fit guy. I mean, he was a strong guy. And he started, because he was riding with me for a little bit. And I was stopping and eating, I'm eating 3,000 calories a day. We were stopping at Wendy's and I was getting my bunless burger. And so every time I would stop to get some food, he's like, oh, I'll grab something too. But he would get the normal kind of diet from a fast food place. And after about 2 or 3 weeks of that, he goes, hey, we're eating at the same time, pretty much the same amount of food. But I put on 15 pounds and you're looking a little bit leaner. I was like, oh man, well, you got to get on this keto train. Yeah, he did. He ended up losing about 15, 20 pounds in the first month. And that's kind of where he called it and just kind of switched over to more like a paleo type thing, but still low carb, still cut out the sugar, which is a benefit regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way I look at that, go ahead, Jim.
No, you go.
So just say real quick, the way I go about that is, like paleo, keto, whatever, like if you're cutting out sugar in your diet, I got more in common with you than I do someone who's eating the standard American diet.
Yep.
What are you drinking, Mac? And how much water are you drinking a day?
So back in, I'm ashamed to say during COVID, Coke Zero is my absolute crutch. Coke Zero is like my holy grail of drink. I just absolutely love it. And, I was drinking Coke Zeros. I was still staying like dirty keto or lazy keto. But in June, when we started we're going to get rid of artificial sweeteners. We're going to get rid of, we're going to do carnivore. I switched to water, black coffee, or coffee just with a heavy whipping cream. And instead of buying Coke Zeros by the truckload, we were buying LaCroix water, like a sparkling water type thing, which is basically someone whispering a fruit in another room as you drink. But all in all, just trying to get all that in as I started lifting, getting a lot more serious about lifting at the beginning of July. So when I go out for my lifting sessions, when I'm doing the Keto Gains program, I take a 2 liter, it's a 64 ounce hydro flask. I put 2 teaspoons of the Redmond's real salt and fill the bottle up. And that will be gone during my hour and a half lifting session. And then I actually just put out a mini fridge out in the gym too. So I got that stocked with plain bottled water, and I'll drink 2 bottles of water while I'm out there, usually with a black cup of coffee kind of cooling off on top of the fridge. But at minimum, I'm getting in about 4 liters of water a day. 2 of the liters are usually salted, with a little bit of salt in my coffee sometimes. And it sounds absolutely disgusting if you've never done it before, but coffee with 1 raw egg and a little bit of heavy whipping cream in a blender, or butter instead of heavy whipping cream, it's so smooth and nice. It's very good.
I can wholeheartedly agree because I've been doing that for quite some time now. I would say 1 egg, you honestly wouldn't even notice it's in there because it just makes the coffee super creamy. I put 2 eggs in there, and then that kind of changes it up a little more where you can like, I don't think you'd pick out that it was an egg, but you'd know that there was something going on with this coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I had my wife try it, and she goes, oh, that's decent. I could drink. She doesn't drink black coffee. This whole time, she does 2 packets of Splenda or heavy whipping cream, and that's her coffee. She won't change that. And I gave her, some of the egg and butter coffee, and she's like, yeah, it's not bad. I drink it, and I told her there's an egg in it, and I thought she was going to kill me.
Yeah, my wife wouldn't touch my coffee, my keto coffees. Whenever I make the bulletproof style coffee, she would not touch that. Mainly because she's just kind of that way. She's weird about. Well, I wouldn't even say weird. She just is particular about what she wants to do with that.
Well, my wife tried the putting the MCT oil in the coffee, and I let her kind of take that experiment herself first. And that was the first couple of weeks we had started keto, and the MCT oil, if you haven't tried it and you put too much in and you're not used to it, it'll wreck you stomach wise. And
yep.
I just, from that point forward, I stayed away from the MCT oil. Not that it's a bad thing. I mean,
no, you have to work up. You definitely have to work up on it.
I think she put a tablespoon and a half in 1 cup. I said, oh, geez.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, she didn't know.
Yeah, I hope she didn't have
for a little bit.
Yeah, I hope she didn't have to go to work for that day.
I wonder what's more effective, because I was reading about this in the group the other day: the MCT oil or Epsom salts.
Do them both. Why not?
Full clean out.
Yeah, because you want to turn your body inside out.
Yeah.
Well, you want to lose that quick 5 to 7 pounds?
Yeah. Says the guy with ulcerative colitis.
Yeah. Touche.
You've had your fair share of digestive issues. So you're like, well, let's just let everybody else experience the glory of digestive issues. Yeah,
glory is an interesting word.
Well,
take out the L. Just glory.
There you go.
Oh, that's good. So we're coming up on our hour and whatnot. So let's go ahead and start winding things down a little bit. What did you find surprising along the way, Mac?
What I found surprising was what I realized how much that kind of food controlled me and how much I was kind of a slave to it. It was almost every aspect of my life. It had something to do with food, whether we had family get-togethers or it was always an unhealthy obsession that I had there. Like if I saw something good, I had to have it. I had to eat it. And I kind of surprised myself once I kind of broke that, almost like that sugar withdrawal kind of drug that had a hold of me, that I realized that I've got to take control over this. Kind of at some point in your life, you've got to say enough's enough. And, for me to come up, because I'm very easygoing, I joke around a bunch. But for me to come to that personal realization that was so serious to me with seeing my parents' health issues, realizing that at some point enough's got to be enough and you've got to take charge of it. Nobody's going to do it for you. Kind of that realization that you get this one life. That's all you get. And you can take it and make something great out of it, or you can waste it, not be there for your family, not be there for your kids, your grandkids, whatever it might be. But having these kind of mental clarity moments to where everything just kind of clicked was super surprising to me. Because, started at around about 33 years of age. I wasn't an immature guy by any stretch, but I didn't have a full grasp on that. And to get that kind of shocked me a little bit.
Yeah,
so one of the last
it's
things.
a great point as we all talk at the same time. Jim,
We do.
over to you.
I don't know. Coming to you with weather from this side of the show. So one of the things we always ask our guests is, what is your favorite keto food aside from steak?
Oh.
And if you go with that Wendy's triple bacon nominator booger or whatever it was, we got to go with real food.
Oh, man, I wish you would have told me this question beforehand so I could have thought about it. My biggest go-to in the morning time, because we live down here in Virginia, right near Smithfield, where it's Smithfield ham, Smithfield bacon, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm lucky enough to get Smithfield thick cut bacon for about $2.79 a pound on a good day. So we typically have got 25 pounds of bacon in the freezer, along with 60, 90 count worth of eggs. So my first meal in the morning is usually 8 to 10 slices of thick cut Smithfield bacon and 2 or 3 fried eggs.
So now that you say that, I'm just curious, does Smithfield have like a tasting room where you can come and taste bacon?
They've got it's kind of their processing plant. I don't know if I'd want to taste it there. Maybe if they had an off-site location, I'd like a beer garden, but for bacon, I might get behind that. Probably not at the plant though.
I'm thinking more of wine and bacon, and let the ladies have the wine and the men have the bacon.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I mean, I just think we may have come up with the best keto business idea ever.
We have the LLC. We can do this.
I see things happening. I mean, really, do you like the crispy side? Head over to this counter. Do you want the easy going with some pepper on it? Here you go. Yeah.
Oh, the most frustrating thing is I would sit there in my cast iron skillet, frying up bacon. I'd turn around and my mound of bacon would be gone from the kids walking up, the wife walking up, one of the kids giving it to the dog or whatever it might be.
Oh.
So I went and invested in 2 very nice baking sheets. And I finally tuned in the temperature and the time perfectly where I can just lay it all out on a baking sheet, throw it in the oven. And I can, maybe one day I'll pose lovingly with a tray of bacon and say that I'm proud of it. But
You've got quite the shoes to fill on that picture, my friend.
Oh, I know. It has some good looking bacon.
Yeah. The thing that my wife and I got that made that so easy was we got those reusable. Well, we normally use the paper, the bacon
Parchment paper?
Yeah. So that's what we normally use, but we also have those reusable like baking liner things that we could totally use if we really wanted to. And so that's a kind of a cool thing to have available as well for baking bacon or sausage or whatever those might be. And then we got the like industrial sized kitchens or industrial style full size sheets. And so we can easily do a full pack of bacon at one time, and it makes it real fast and easy.
Makes it easier to save the bacon fat too, because that stuff is gold.
Yep, you can pour that off real easy. So, yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm not gonna lie. Ever since I got that new grill and I put that griddle on top of it, I don't think it's ever going to come off, and I don't think I'm ever going to cook bacon any other way than on this giant griddle of mine.
We were talking about that tonight because we have a glass top stove, and I know you're not supposed to use cast iron on a glass stove top. And I said, whenever I break this thing on accident, we need to find an oven that has a griddle on top instead of the eyes of a typical stove top, and just to have the whole top be like a hibachi, and just have that
cool.
there.
That's cool. We got a 5-burner where the center burner is a griddle that we use, and then and it's a gas. Then the other add-on that we had from before was a cast iron griddle, and it has two sides, one that's ridged and one that's flat. And so that's another utility kitchen tool that my wife has had us get, and it's been very, very beneficial in the kitchen. So lots of cool stuff there. Any other things that we missed? I think that we covered almost everything that I can think of, at least.
Yeah, I will say that there was one thing that my wife ordered me for the gym that's yet to come in yet, and it's a big banner, and it says "Nobody cares, work harder."
Love it.
And put it right there in the gym, because at the end of the day, it's up to you. You got to put the work in if you want it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And there's a meme that I always quote. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but the meme, I think it's just Testosterone Nation put it out there. The meme says, "Nobody cares what you used to bench in high school."
Yeah.
so it's like, it has the same meaning, but it's just funnier. And my friends will be talking to me about something completely random and bragging about, like, it might not even be fitness related. I'll just look at it and tell them, yeah, nobody cares how much you used to bench in high school.
Yep. Yeah. What knows? I can't even remember what I did and all that, but doesn't matter. One way or another, it does not matter. Okay. Well, as Jim mentioned earlier in the conversation, make sure to go leave a rating, a comment, a review on Apple Podcasts. Our website you can use to connect directly to Apple Podcasts is theketomansclub.com. And so you have that available to you. That has all of our social links, all of our ways to connect with us. It has our Shopify store linked there for when we have shirt sales or merch sales going on. So that's going to be there. Our KetoCon link is there. And if you go to the KetoCon link, we have the promo code that's available for us for 15% off. That's Keto Man. And so you can just put in the discount code Keto Man at checkout, and that will give you 15% off the purchase of an online ticket to the KetoCon 2020 site. So definitely check that out. It's a great way to get all of the presentations, but especially Alberto's, and we'll be able to do that. Mac, how can people connect with you online?
So I'm actually in the mentor group of the Keto Men's Club. I'm on there. I'm usually on there about 4 or 5 different times a day. Just when I'm on Facebook, I'm usually on the Keto Men's Club page, giving advice where I can, busting balls where I can, and usually there or Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
Probably the easiest way.
Yep. Very good. Okay. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time tonight, and really awesome story that I do think will be encouraging and challenging in all the good ways. So thank you for taking that time. That's it for this week. Signing off for Jim and Alberto and myself. This is the Keto Man's Club, and don't forget to eat meat, lift heavy, sleep, and repeat. Thank you for joining us for the Keto Man's Club podcast. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Would you help us spread the word about the Keto Man's Club by sharing with your friends and family? We're available on all podcast platforms, so just search for Keto Man's Club and you'll find us. If you would like to connect with us, you can do so a number of ways. Our web address leads to our Facebook group, theketomansclub.com. That's TheKetoMansClub.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at Keto Man's Club Podcast. Lastly, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to reach out via email to KetoMansClubPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to hanging out with you again next week.